Hey, so I recently got back to Minecraft. I wasn't playing it for about a few years, I think, and I got back to it because I thought that it would be cool if I played some redstone, and I figured out why not build a fucking computer? Because who doesn't want to have a computer inside of a computer? Like, that just makes sense, right? So what I did, the thing I have here is basically just memory. It has 4 bits, bytes, 4 bytes of memory. That is 32 bits. That's quite a lot. Actually, not. That's about enough to store 4 letters. But it's not like anyone cares. It's still freaking massive, and I love it. It's enough to store about twice this much, and that's a big number. So I would like to explain how it works, kinda, not really. I'm just excited for this thing coming off because it's going to change this one, and that would be 512. That is like a lot of time for this process. That my music just ended. I feel awkward now. Okay, it's cool now. So I build a clock here that just basically turns this first bit on, so the other things add up, and it basically counts up. But first of all, how the fuck does that whole thing work? Well, the first thing is a flip-flop. A flip-flop is basically just a switch, but it's made of circuitry. So maybe I'll just build one real quick. The simplest version is basically something like this. No. Basically looks like this. If you destroy this cable, it turns on this, and if you destroy this one, it turns on this. Very simple. But I used this one. I designed this one, so it's actually more of a vertical one, because I want an output and an input to this to be automated. There's a lot of messing around with this part because I have to figure out which one to hit, like if I want to activate this one or this one. As you can see, it works flawless right now, but this thing was quite essential for it because it deletes for like one tick with 1 tick of delay right here. It deletes this one, actually only this one, but if I only delete both, this one will delete, so you get a point. And basically this thing just leads for some time and it messes up things, so I decided to make it like 1 tick long, so the whole thing doesn't just get confused. Next, I have 2 of these. This one is for actual data storage, and this one is for buffering, because when you add numbers you have to have another number to, like, what do you call that? You basically fit one here stored and one stored here, so you know that you need to add one to the next one, so we have 2. But you don't know if this one is empty, so you just kind of buffer it until one of these is empty and then dump to the empty one. That's what this whole thing does. It's quite complicated. It's like 3 or 4 logic gates. I don't really want to explain that. I don't even remember how it works. So yeah, there is rails. There's a rail with that information. My game's really laggy right now because this whole thing just, it actually turned. Oh yeah, it got to the 3rd one. How much is that? That's 1024. A lot of time. Yeah, I think I actually have some data in buffering here because I reset the whole thing. Anyway, next thing is that you need to have a lot of this. There's 4 there, and there's 4 of this there. Don't worry with those ones here. I just messed up things. I had to connect this one to this one. Then I had to connect this one to this one. Just a lot of messing here. I kinda did a symmetry here, and the symmetry broke everything because I didn't think it through. But that doesn't matter right now. This thing is basically one of these things. That's exactly the same thing. It just connects this to this, and I used 4 bits of information. That's 1 byte. This is basically how much space in memory you need to have to store 1 letter. That looks like a lot. It just basically for ones and zeros, 8 ones and zeros. That's kind of impressive. I need this much information, this much data to store just 1 letter, right? So they're just connected with each other. This last one is connected to this. First of this, it basically just counts up things. Anyway, this one is lit because I didn't reset things properly. Actually, no, this wasn't because of it. That was because I actually was testing if the whole thing would go like disconnections, if disconnections would work. But obviously I didn't build this whole thing manually. I have MC'd it because I am a smart cookie. I just copied this whole thing like a million times. Actually, that's just 4. But that doesn't matter right now. There's a clock. This one's broken, don't bother with this one. Let's go to the first one. I have that one. This one just activates this thing, so it comes up. I think I actually said that once already. There's also one thing I did here. It's an overflow gate. It basically acts like a dump for information. So if you turn on the switch, it won't let any data out of this circuit. You don't want to give this any input. It will just reset itself to 0 basically. Actually, it will just reset the 2 last bits of information, which are the actual storage and the buffering storage. And the last one actually has it on, because when this one overflows, if it is full, the whole thing would be full. Basically the whole thing would stop doing its thing of counting up in binary. So I just have it on, so just in case of, let's say, an overflow, it would just get rid of it. And the whole thing presents itself like this. I need to go up a bit. Just wait a while. It looks like this. Pretty not impressive, not at all. I'm freaking hyped. This looks totally amazing. I spent like 5 hours on this. So if you would want like some kind of an in-depth explanation of how this works, like how the whole logic system work there and there, I could make a separate video about that. But I doubt anyone would be interested in that, since that's like complicated stuff and the basic overview is pretty clear, I guess. Basically this one adds up things to the next search here, and these things are connected to each other, so they act like a connected storage, which they actually are. And this thing absolutely burns my computer. But now I can finally say Nice. Inside of a computer, inside of Minecraft, inside of a virtual machine, inside of an actual computer. That's pretty impressive, right? You know what is more impressive? Our technology. Like this thing, this stores like 4 bytes of data. You know how much information my actual storage can hold? It's about 4 terabytes, and and my computer is, if you took it to scale, my computer will be well, about that size. That's actually a lot more. I only have, it's about like this size, I think. And inside of this, I have like 4 terabytes of information. And 4 terabytes is 1,000 megabytes, no, gigabytes. Megabytes is 1,000. Gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. A megabyte is 1,000 kilobytes, and a kilobyte is 1,000 bytes. So you know, pretty efficient. Good technology we have here, right? But this storage thing is just a storage thing. It doesn't really do anything, right? So what about buffing it up and actually making this thing an actual computer? Like, there are outputs here, right? I made the outputs. Why not just add some more modules to this and actually make this, I don't know, maybe let's make a game inside of it. Why not make a game inside of Minecraft? I could do it. I mean, it would absolutely destroy anyone's computer, but it could work. I mean, since you can store just so much data, I guess I would just disconnect these things from each other. Basically, you have four variables that I can change whenever I want, and I guess that would be enough to make, like, I don't know, what's a simple game? I could make Pac-Man without the ghosts, because the ghosts are just absolute massacre for me. I mean, you know, ghosts, they have AI. You ain't gonna make that in Minecraft, right? Or are you? Well, if you tried really hard, you could, but I ain't doing that now. But what I thought is to make, like, this is the game where you can move on tiles or something, I don't know. You would have to have 2 variables for your position, and that would be pretty much it. I know how I would do the display, since that would take actually a lot of thinking, because of the signal, how I would differentiate if it's 1 or if it's 2 or if it's 3. It would be kinda hard, but it's definitely possible, right? I mean, I guess some kind of boosting of the signal. I don't know, I'm going to leave the thinking for later. But basically, we could make like a 16 by 16 game file where you just can move around. We have like 4 buttons, a giant ass monitor here, and you can basically just move around. I could probably do that. I mean, you just have to have like 2 variables for that, x and y, and you would have to have 4 inputs: y negative, y positive, x negative, x positive, and probably just stay in place, but that's not an input. So I could probably make that. It doesn't sound like really hard, except for the whole display thing. But as I said, I'm just going to leave the thinking for later. I'm probably going to do it. because this thing just won't leave me alone. Like, the thought that I can actually make that will just haunt me in my dreams or my nightmares. In both, probably. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed me being stupid all over the place and doing nothing productive for an eternity. Yeah, bitch lasagna, I'm gay, bye.